We come out of the dark. O Ismene, O one and only sister whose blood intersects with my own in too many ways. Ever since we were born from the evils of Oedipus, what bitterness, pain, disgust, disgrace, or moral shock have we been spared? And now this edict. You've heard the edict, or are you unaware of the evils coming on us?
I have heard no news at all.
Neither sweet nor bitter that our two brothers are slain by one another's hands and the Argive gone from the city is all I know.
That's what I thought.
That's why I called you out here.
What's the matter?
You have your thunder look.
Creon is resolved. To honor one of our brothers with burial the other night, Antigone, he has laid in the ground with the quarters of justice and law. How nice is the lie unwept and unburied. Sweet sorry meat for the little lust of the birds. Good Creon draws our attention to this edict. Yours and my attention. Whoever transgresses gets dead. So what do you say? Will you show what you're made of?
What could I show?
What could I say and what could I do that'd make any difference?
If you join me.
If you join my action.
At
At what
risk.
risk?
Where is your mind?
If you help me.
Help me lift the
You
corpse.
mean bury him when it's forbidden?
Dear sister, my dead are mine, and yours as well as mine. Do what you like, but I will not betray him.
Creon says the act is unlawful.
Antigone says
It's not Creon's business.
Oh, sister, don't cross this line. Whoever we are, think, sister. Father's daughter, daughter's brother, sister's mother, mother's son. His mother and his wife were one. Our family is doubled, tripled, degraded, and dirty in every direction. He shattered his own eyeballs so as not to see it. And now, our brothers lie slain by one another's hands. So that's it. We too are alone. Moreover, we're girls. Girls cannot force their way against men. I'm sure the dead will forgive me if I obey those in power. You always push the limits. Limits are there for a reason.
You know what, Ismene?
I wouldn't take your help now if you asked me.
I'll bury him, for it is right to do. Though I die for it, one day he and I will lie in the grave, side by side, for death is long. Death is very long. So you go on worrying about the gods of life.
I must worry. I'm powerless.
Good excuse.
Well, I'm off. A brother needs burying.
I fear for you.
Don't bother.
Well, at least keep this secret.
Oh no, proclaim it to all. I insist.
Your heart's so hot, oh sister.
The dead are cold.
They are welcome me.
You are someone in love with the impossible.
And when my strength is gone, I'll stop.
This is utterly wrong.
Don't say that or I'll have to hate you.
He will hate you too.
Just let me go. For I'll not suffer anything so grievous as to rob me of noble death.
The world of Antigone is the same as our world, just way, way in the past. It's a time before climate change was even talked about, global warming was even thought of. It's set in a mountain city, built like Rome, hand-carved, dry, dusty lands, with a breeze that carries no relief from the heat, the sun always high, no change in the season. Time moves in moments, a step here and there, and it moves very fast. Blink and change, storms come, but not very often. It's very stark, bleak. Mood is very serious, very coarse. It's a very harsh land to live in. The sounds are very crisp, harsh, crunchy. Birds far off in the distance. You can hear footsteps, dry, crispy sounds. The people of the planet are mostly all regal, but there are prophets and mystics. It's a very private world, but it's public. There's no hiding anything. Everyone knows everyone else. There's little change in the world of Antigone. It moves slowly, one moment to the next, until it comes to an end. A sad, tragic end.
Who is Antigone?
I don't know. But here comes Creon, rowing his new policies into place. What new policies, I wonder? And why has he called us all here so formally?
Gentlemen, first let me say our city is safe again today. Although a violent storm passed through, the gods have set us upright. Now as to you yourselves, I have sent for you especially because of your traditional support for Laius, his throne and power, your support for Oedipus when he restored our city, your support for Oedipus' sons. After Oedipus died, you stood by them. You gave solid counsel. Well, now they are both dead. They fought each other, hand to hand, a single day, a double doom, an unholy outcome. I am the throne and power now. Yet, 'tis no easy matter to discern the temper of a man, his mind and will, till he be proved by exercise of power. And in my case, if one who reigns supreme swerve from the highest policy, tongue-tied by fear of consequence, that man I hold and ever held the basest of the base. And I condemn the man that sets his friend before his country. Now as for me, let Zeus, who sees all things, take note of this. To watch ruin advancing upon our citizens and hold my tongue, I could not. To call a man my friend if he were hostile to the land, I could not. Sail your city straight and you will make the right friends. That's my philosophy. Those are my laws. Here's my edict concerning Oedipus' sons. For Eteocles, patriot, champion, hero of our city, our decree is burial, with every kind of holy honor owed to the best of the dead below. For his brother, Polynices, who came back from exile, meaning to burn us to the ground, to eat our blood, to throw us into slavery, for this man our decree is, he shall have no grave. No one will bury him, no one will mourn him, no one will utter a cry. Leave him out for the birds to peck and the dogs to chew and the eye to be outraged at. Evildoers have no status in my city. This is a place for law-abiding men. Whoever is loyal, dead or alive, shall have honor from me.
If that's what you want to do, Creon, do it. You have the power. You can use the laws you like, both for the dead and all of us who are living.
But now this is for you to keep watch on all this.
Oh, but can't you ask a younger man?
I don't mean watch the grave. I've got people doing that already.
So what are your orders?
Be careful you do not collaborate with anyone disloyal to me.
Who will be so rash, so suicidal?
Hope of gain hath lured men to their ruin oftentimes, yet the penalty is death.
Did you hear the one about the novice executioner? He couldn't get the hang of it. Sir, if I can hardly speak for lack of breath, it's not because it ran. We kept on stopping, as a matter of fact, half a dozen times. We hung about as much as we dared. You know what I always say.
One of these days, he's going to fix his procrastination problem.
So listen, don't hurry, I said to myself. The chances are poor sod will cop it when you get there.
But then I said to myself, you see, hang about, I said, or rather don't. Because if Creon hears this from somebody else, you're really in trouble.
So we heard her as slow as we could, going round and round in circles in our heads as well as with our feet.
It's funny how long a mile can take you when you're thinking what I was thinking. I was thinking about my father's death. He died because my siblings and I couldn't remember his blood type. He just kept telling us, be positive.
He was such an optimistic guy. May he rest in peace.
So what's the problem?
Let me say first, we didn't do it. We don't know who did it, and we shouldn't pay the price for this.
Stop hedging. Give me your news.
It's terrible news. It's why we hesitate. You remember the last time he had to deliver bad news?
I had to announce that the Energizer Bunny was under arrest when we charged him with battery.
You ghost, Anus, talk.
Okay. The corpse. Someone buried it. Someone threw dust on it. Someone did all the required holy stuff.
What are you saying? What man would have dared?
No way of knowing, sir. We've no idea. There had been no digging, no spade marks, or nothing. The ground's rock hard. There had been no wheel tracks either from a chariot, a cart, or anything. In fact, no clue of any kind at all.
You should have seen the looks on our faces. We were as confused as a cyclops when you tell him to put on a pair of sunglasses. We were all scared stiff. It was as if the body had disappeared.
figure, not buried in a proper grave, I don't mean, but lightly covered with a layer of earth, almost as though some passing stranger with a religious turn of mind, knowing that being left unburied means everlasting anguish and wandering without rest, scattered a few handfuls. There were no tracks. So our confusion turned to anger. Guard against guard. We fell to blows, each of us the guilty one. That's why we love teamwork. Gives us someone else to blame. Then he said we'd better tell Creon. I stood paralyzed, staring at the ground. I knew he was right. Couldn't be hushed up. We resorted to drawing lots.
You know, King, I've had a feeling for quite some time now that the gods might be mixed up in this somehow.
Don't say another word. I am like to think you joked in your old age. Is it not errant folly to pretend the gods would have a thought for this dead man? You think the gods buried him for his good intentions? You think the gods gave him a prize for citizenship despite the fact he came to burn their temples down, to desecrate their laws? You think the gods find gangsters like this honorable? Well, here's the simple truth. I'll say it one time. You're wrong. The gods didn't do this. But there are men who would try, men who don't like me, men who murmur and fret and chafe under my government, men who might well lead a guard or watchmen astray with a bit of a bribe. In fact, now that I think of it, that's exactly what happened. Of evils current upon earth, the worst is money.
Speaking of money, I've decided to sell my unused vacuum cleaner. It's just collecting dust.
Money 'tis that stacks cities and drives men forth from hearth and home, warps and seduces native innocence and breeds a habit of dishonesty. Whoever took a bribe to do this deed will pay the price. Now you listen to me. I swear by Zeus himself, yes, I still honor Zeus. If you don't find and bring to me the guilty man, I'll make you beg for death. I'll have you hanging by your thumbs till you confess, you greedy, piss-ant, little amateur terrorist.
I know money talks, but all mine ever says is goodbye.
You're treading a very thin line.
When I found out my toaster wasn't waterproof, I was shocked.
Do you really want to test my mood like this?
But we didn't bury him. Not guilty to that, sir. We're just the messengers. You can't choose the messenger, right?
You were born already babbling, weren't you?
Yes, but I wasn't born to do this deed.
Yet you did. They bribed you. They bought your soul.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Broken pencil.
Broken pencil who?
Never mind, it's pointless.
Produce the perpetrator or you're guilty.
Sure, we'll find the guy. But if we don't, let's say he gets lucky. There's no way you'll see me back here again. I'm naked like a shepherd. Get the flock out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, here you see the royal palace of Thebes. This is the home of Antigone.
As a little girl, Antigone and her sister Ismene used to play out here, dreaming of the love they would give their children. Who would think two sisters who were once inseparable would come to the point of almost hate? Sometimes when the wind blows, you can still hear Ismene's last words to her sister. Remember, I love you, whatever happened.
As we move on, here's the center court where Antigone meets Creon. Creon has made it perfectly clear how he feels about Polynices, Antigone's brother, an enemy of the state. Creon's law states that Polynices shall not be buried. All Antigone can see is that her brother is dead, so she buried him. Creon finds out and assumes that Ismene, Antigone's sister, had a hand in it. Ismene says she helped. Antigone says no. The two sisters go back and forth. Antigone wants to stand alone and proudly says so. Antigone knows she is going to die. But Ismene does not want to live without her sister. As the two go in opposite directions, it makes one wonder, did anyone ever think to look back?
What is Antigone about?
It's about a girl who loves her brothers the same. Sometimes you can love someone more than you love yourself. It helps me understand when someone says, I love you to death.
I am Antigone, stubborn as honeysuckle. I try and watch the bees with my determination to honor the sun that others have been scorched by. The heat of this ambition does not concern me.
I must do what I feel is natural and right.
You believe I will be burned and nothing good will come from sun recognition.
He is my brother, and besides, the reign of my heritage flows through my veins.
They will keep me strong in the face of the trials of men.
Man has condemned me. I am loyal, and this is the vine rooting me to the walls of my conviction.
can see you. Her father's destiny was misfortune. On all his progeny, misfortune's reign. Child, did you disobey the new king's order, bury your brother? Do you have to manhandle her this way?
We saw it! Actually burying the body. Caught him in the act, as they say. Red-handed, only it's not a him, it's a her, but where's the king?
Who is Antigone?
She's a complicated young lady who likes the wild and looking under rocks to see what treasures can be found.
Just returning now, when he's most needed.
What's all the noise? By the look of things, I'm here not a moment too soon. What has happened?
Well, King, miracles do happen. I swore I wouldn't come back, but I did. It's the last thing I expected. Probably so did you, but here I am, and pretty pleased. You're pretty angry, thus to say the least last time. Like the doctor of a long-distance running team, your patience ran thin. Right mouthful you gave me. More than enough, thanks very much. But you can't beat a real turnip for the books, can you?
Makes me think about that time all those books fell on your head.
I can only blame my shelf.
So, this girl's your criminal. We caught her doing it, actually setting the grave to rights. We brought her here with no panic at all. This time I can tell you, no lots were drawn. The job was all ours. We caught her, and we claimed the credit for it, and now she's all yours.
Take her.
Accuse her.
Stone her to death if you like. By rights, we're free to go.
And well shot of all of it.
List of things that should be in a production of Antigone.
White dress for Antigone.
Cave.
Nice slates.
Close at one for today, but have a Greek feeling.
More than 2 or 3 actors for each part.
Where did you arrest her? Give me the details.
She was burying him. What else is there to say?
Are you out of your mind? Do you realize the implications of what you were saying?
Sir, she was burying the body. We saw her. The body you ordered not to be buried. I can't speak plainer than that.
Did you catch her in the act? Did you see her doing it?
Well, gentlemen, it was like this. We flew back to our posts like eagles, remembering the overly aggressive threats, reasonable promises you made as we quickly brushed all the earth off the naked body.
It was all wet and beginning to decay by now.
And we set up on the ridge, all keeping a sharp eye on each other, not tattling, but my friend here starting to doze. I wasn't, though. I was on the lookout like a hawk. Then suddenly, there came a whirlwind.
Definitely a twister it was.
And it raised up a dust storm which swept across.
It blotted out the whole sky and completely blinded us. And then suddenly, it stopped.
And when the air cleared, we opened our eyes and saw this girl standing there beside the grave and sort of wailing. Sticking with the bird motif, I can best compare her to a mama bird coming back to her nest. Tweet, tweet! Hello, my babies! Oh no! Where are my babies at? They're all gone!
That's what she sounded like.
She was standing there, looking at the naked body and screaming and cursing the monsters who had done such a thing! Us, of course! And she crouched down and picked up a few handfuls of the dry dust and scattered it on him. She carried an urn, a small ceremonial bronze thing, and she poured from it 3 times on the dead body. Honey and wine and stuff in it, I suppose. All the proper ritual for a funeral, anyway.
We promptly arrested her and charged her with the crime.
This one and the one before.
She admitted she'd done them both.
We were both very relieved, but very sorry, too, at the same time.
It's very nice to get out of trouble yourself. Not so nice when you drop someone else up to the neck in it. Someone you've no quarrel with.
But still, your own life comes first, I reckon.
Have to look after number 1.
And you with your head down, what do you say to this accusation? Do you admit it? Are you guilty or not?
Yes, I'm guilty.
I don't pretend otherwise.
Who is Antigone?
Greek, female, mysterious. Antigone, virgin.
And you, soldiers, get out. You're cleared of all charges against you and free to go back to your unit. Now tell me, simple yes or no, did you hear my order forbidding the burial?
Of course I heard it. How could I not?
And yet you dared to disobey the law?
Yes, I did.
Because it's your law, not the law of God.
Natural justice, which is of all times and places. Numinous, not material, a quality of Zeus. Not of kings recognize no such law. You are merely a man,
mortal like me.
And the laws you enact cannot overturn ancient moralities or common human decencies. They speak the language of eternity, are not written down, and never change. They are for today,
yesterday, and all time.
No one understands where they come from, but everyone recognizes their force, and no man's arrogance or power could make me disobey them. I would rather suffer the disapproval and punishment of men than to dishonor such ancient truths. I shall die, of course, sometime, whether you make laws or not. If my death comes sooner rather than later, I shall welcome it. My life has been misery.
Is misery now.
I shall be more than happy to leave it. There will be no pain and no despair in that. But to leave my mother's son out there in the open unburied,
that would have been unendurable.
I could not have borne it. Whereas this,
I shall endure.
By your judgment, of course I will, but by mine it's the judge, not the accused who's behaving foolishly.
I'll hold you in contempt of court.
If you're gonna try me in a modern courtroom, at least treat me like a modern woman.
Sentence me twice as harshly as a man facing the same crime.
This is her father speaking. Stubborn like him, she will not give way, even with the power of the whole state against her.
Well, we shall see. Any man can be broken, and often the most committed and determined breaks soonest. Even iron, left lying in the fire too long becomes over-tempered and can snap as soon as a little pressure is applied. You could break it in pieces. And the wildest horse in the end submits to the bit and halter just like the rest. People without power, ordinary citizens, must necessarily obey those in authority over them.
Things that never go away.
Felonies.
Genetics.
Wrinkles.
Work.
Indigestion.
Khaki beige.
Concrete.
Longing for sleep.
People who talk too loud.
This woman is very proud. That was obvious in the first place when she broke the law, and it's even clearer now. She glories in the crime she committed and insults me to my face, as well as ignoring my decree. If she is allowed to flout the law in this way, all authority in the state will collapse. I will not have that. There will be no exchanging of roles here. Me playing the woman while she plays the king. She is my niece, my sister's child. But I am the law. And that responsibility is above kinship. Were she even closer, the closest, my own daughter, my duty would be lame. The law has its weapons, and they will strike at her and at her sister too. Her accomplice, no doubt, in this illegal act to the full extent of the punishment prescribed. The other one, Antigone, bring her here. I saw her in the corridor talking to herself and sobbing emotionally like a mad woman. The working of the mind to cover off dark deeds and dark schemes before the act. More hateful still, the miscreant who seeks when caught to make a virtue of a crime.
What more do you want?
Kill me and have done with it.
Nothing more than your death? That'll be enough.
Then what are you waiting for? Nothing you say will be of the slightest interest to me, and my arguments you will not listen to. I've done what I said I'd do.
I buried my brother.
I aspire to no greater honor, and if I am to be famous, let it be for that. All these senators of yours, they all agree with me in their hearts, but
there is no gad like terror, is there, gentlemen?
And tyrants must have their way, both in word and action. That is their privilege.
You are mistaken. None of the Thebans anywhere in the city thinks as you do.
They all do, but they keep their mouths shut when you're here.
Not at all. And you should be ashamed, setting yourself up against the majority, disregarding the will of the people.
I love my brother. I honor him dead as I loved him living. There's no shame in that.
And the one he murdered, wasn't he your brother?
My mother bore them both, and I loved them both.
If you honor one, you insult the other.
Neither of those dead men would say that.
Eteocles would. His brother was a traitor. Does he merit no greater respect than that?
But he was not an animal. They both died together, and they were both men.
Yes, and one died defending his country, while the other traitorously attacked it.
The dead have their rights, and we have our duties towards them dictated by common decency.
And if good and bad are honored equally, where are our values? Patriotism, civic duty.
Death is another country.
Such things may not be valued there, may even be crimes.
An enemy is still an enemy, dead or alive.
No, I was born with love enough to share. No hate for anyone.
Very well, share your love by all means. Share it with the dead. I wish them well of it. Women must learn to obey as well as men. They can have no special treatment. Law is law and will remain so while I'm alive. And no woman will get the better of me.
Things that
Never go away.
Periods.
Correctional officers. Time. Rules. Love. History.
Look, senators, Ismene weeping for her sister.
Her face is raw with tears, flayed with misery.
Her loveliness is scarred now. This disaster darkens her fair skin with premonitions and fears, and flushes her cheeks with anguish, not beauty.
And you, snake, slithering silently about my house to drink my blood in secret. Both of you the same. I look the other way, and like terrorists, you lay undercover plans to destroy me. Well, do you too confess your complicity in this crime or protest your innocence?
Yes, I confess. If she will allow me to say so, I was fully involved. And if she is guilty, so am I.
No, that isn't justice. When I asked you for help, you refused me, and so I told you. I didn't want you. I'd do it alone.
But now that you're in danger, Antigone, I'm proud to stand beside you on the dock.
The dead man knows who buried him.
What use are people who are all words and no action?
Please, my sister, don't despise me. Let me share the honor and die with you.
You've no right to claim honor for doing what you were afraid to do. One death will be enough.
Why should you die?
Because life without you won't be worth living.
Save your own life. Do that for yourself without any criticism from me or envy.
For God's sake, Antigone, will you not even allow me to share my death with my own sister?
No, I won't. You chose to live and I chose to die, and so that is the end of it.
But I wasn't afraid to speak. I warned you that this would happen. I knew how it would be.
And most, the majority, would agree with you. But some would be of my opinion.
But we're both guilty, both condemned.
No, you must live. I have been dead for a long time inwardly, and I am well suited to pay honor to the dead and die for it.
These women are neurotic lunatics! Both of them. One suddenly lost her wits, the other was bored mad.
Name-calling is just a symptom of insecurity. Ah!
You lost your senses when you allowed yourself to be influenced by her lunacy.
But there is no life for me here, not without my sister!
Don't speak of her, she's as good as dead.
Will you kill the woman your son plans to marry?
There are other women, no lack of choice for a young man, other fields to plow.
But they're devoted to each other. You can't change love as you change your clothes.
No son of mine can marry a criminal.
Oh, Haman, when you hear how your father insults you.
Let him hear. What does his mistress matter to me?
Lord, Creon, you insult your own. They are formally betrothed. Would you tear this woman from your own son's arms?
Death parts all lovers sooner or later.
If that's how the land lies, the poor child's doomed. Her death warrant sealed and delivered.
They were still locked up.
By you, gentlemen, if you remember, as well as by me. You heard the order, agreed it with me if only by your own silence. Did you not? Before the criminal was known? We'll have no more shilly-shallying. Take them away, lock them up, and keep them under close guard. It's time they understand there are women in their proper place in this society. There's nothing like the immediate threat of death to soften up their rhetoric and make them look reality in the face.
Creon lets Ismene go, but Antigone is condemned to a cave where she will be buried alive. Antigone is hurt, but she is okay with it. If you look closely, you'll see the drag marks from them leading her away. Things that disappear.
Objects we swore we'd keep forever.
Toys we loved as children.
Favorite movies, boyfriends,
Money.
Pictures.
Beloved pets.
Socks in dryer.
parents, love interests,
Memories.
Freedom!
Creon, here comes your youngest son.
Is he desperate with grief that his future bride be so brutally denied that all his hopes of happiness are gone?
For your last son, what relief from his consuming fears and the desperate tears.
Does he come to beg for mercy for his beloved Antigone?
We shall know that from his own lips, without any need of fortune tellers. Son, there's a rumor you've come to speak about that young woman. Not to your ruler, but to your father. If that is so, you've come for nothing. When we returned from battle, which went well through blood and sacrifice, she was the only one who didn't welcome us, begrudging our side the victory. She busies herself with only one matter, and that one, rotten.
Nevertheless, I come to you about this thing. and hope that my father will not listen with anger when his son's voice is the one that must bring bad news to the ruler.
The bitter pill cures, that's why it's prescribed. But who begets unprofitable sons verily breeds trouble for himself and for his foes much laughter. Son, be warned, and let no woman fool away thy wits. Ill fares the husband mated with a shrew, and her embraces very soon wax cold. For what can wound so surely to the quick as a false friend? So spew and cast her off. Bid her go and find a husband with the dead. Whome'er the state elects must be obeyed in everything, but small and great, just and unjust alike. I warrant such a one in either case would shine as king or subject. Such a man would in the storm of battle stand his ground, a comrade, leal and true. But anarchy, what evils are not wrought by anarchy? She ruins states, overthrows the home. She dissipates and routs the embattled host, while discipline preserves the ordered ranks. Therefore, we must maintain authority. Better if needs be, men should cast us out than hear it said, a woman proved his match.
You govern many people, but if you listen only to good news, don't stay in command. Let go of the helm if you don't want to steer adrift. The people are afraid of your name. Therefore, when big fires burn, you get small messages. But there is this advantage to family ties. We don't hold each other to account so strictly, and many faults are readily forgiven. And so we often hear the truth from members of our family because we can restrain our anger towards them. My brother, Megarius, can't come to tell you because he fought at Argos, has not come back, and doesn't know what fear is, so I have to tell you. Listen, there is deep dissatisfaction in this city.
You listen. When my flesh and blood turns rotten, it nourishes my enemies. The uncommitted man who doesn't know his own mind tastes dissent in every small annoyance. One complains of taxes, another wants to end conscription, but I keep them both separated and in my power because I have the weapons. But when there are loopholes and the government seems divided and wavers and is indecisive, that is when the stone can start rolling until it threatens the house that's already surrendered. Speak, but I'll listen only to him whom I brought up, my son, to whom I taught the strength of the spear.
There is some truth in everything. There is a saying, test the strength of thy tongue on the anvil of truth. She who didn't want the merciless dogs to devour her brother. The city is with her in this, although they condemn the dead man's crimes.
If he says aught in season, king, heed him. Heed thou thy sire too. Both have spoken well.
What, would you have us at our age be schooled, lessoned in prudence by a beardless boy?
I plead for justice, father, nothing more. Weigh me upon my merit, not my years.
Strange merit this to sanction lawlessness.
For evildoers I would urge no plea.
Is not this maid an errant lawbreaker?
If even commons with one voice say no.
What, shall the mob dictate my policy?
'Tis thou methinks who speakest like a boy.
Am I to rule for others or myself?
A state of one man is no state at all.
The state is his who rules it, so 'tis hell.
As monarch of the desert thou wouldst shine.
This boy methinks maintains the woman's cause.
If thou beest woman, yes, my thoughts for thee.
O reprobate, wouldst wrangle with thy sire?
Because I see thee wrongfully perverse.
And am I wrong if I may obtain my rights?
Talk not of rights, those first to do up heaven.
O heart corrupt, a woman's minion thou! Living, the maid shall never be thy bride.
So she shall die, but one will die with her.
Hast come to such a pass as threaten me?
What threat is this vain counsels to recruit?
Vain fools to instruct thy betters, thou shalt rue it.
Were not my father, I had said thou art.
Play not the spaniel, thou a woman's slave.
When one does speak, must no man make reply?
This passes bounds. Go like the coward who spares himself to in the hour of decision.
And I get away. So you need not look at a man who is not afraid and makes you tremble. Dear Antigone, love is a four-letter word that is sometimes misunderstood. We are all surrounded by love. In many ways we never thought it could. Love makes us smile, makes us laugh, makes us cry. Love is a complicated emotion. At times, we don't even know why. Love is sharing, caring, sweet, and kind.
Sometimes without even knowing, love can make you lose your mind. In the Bible, 1 Corinthians 13, it tells you, without love, you profit nothing throughout life's trials, tribulations, and sorrows. Love is always there, whether it's yesterday, today, tomorrow. Love is everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're near or far. Love is in your heart. It doesn't matter who you are. Love is family. Love is friends. Love is you and me. You can spread love with just a warm embrace. Can't you see? There's so much more about love that I did not tell. But most important, just remember that love never fails.
Sir, he who went out angry is your youngest son.
But he will not rescue those women from death.
Then you're thinking of killing them both?
No, not the one that stayed away, you're right.
And the other one, how will you kill her?
She shall be taken to some desert place by man untrod, and in a rock-hewn cave with food no more than to avoid the taint that homicide might bring on all the state, buried alive. There, let her call aid to the king of death, the one God she reveres, or learn too late a lesson learned at last. 'Tis reverence lost to reverence the dead.
Dear Antigone, remember, your sister's not as strong as you. She envies your strength.
By all who are beyond the world of matter, and talk together down in hell, I don't like those who love with words alone.
They can call themselves lucky, the fortunate few who live their life through, never drinking from the bitter cup of pain.
My heart hurts for the loneliness you felt and will feel in the future, because there is much to come.
Don't be frightened for me. Fear for yourself. You must be my witness, my only friends and mourners. As victimized by an unjust law I go.
When one unlucky family incurs the wrath of the gods, from generation to generation, they must swallow the bitter potion again and then again.
Dearest Antigone, you soothed your pain and softened your own distress without ever considering the effect it might have on others.
We begin in the dark, and birth is the death of us. My life has been misery. It is misery now. Some think the world is made of bodies. Some think forces. I think a man knows nothing but his foot when he burns it in a hot fire.
The law manifest to ethical consciousness is in essential reality bound up with its opposite. The essential reality is the unity of both.
Didn't your life matter? Didn't you want to be remembered for more than just the pain you endured?
Even if I die in the act, that death will be a glory. I will lie with the one I love and loved by him, an outrage sacred to the gods. Death who puts to sleep both young and old hails my young life.
A wise man once said, when a man commits a crime and is proud of such action, a flaming sword hangs over his head. No future but the grave and a funeral urn.
Dear Antigone, I don't like you.
Who throws me out? A place where I can't hold my head up in my country.
He who seeks power is drinking salt water. He can't keep it down, but he has to drink more.
What was said to him as Nestor's slave?
Nothing but stillness. Stillness laying waste. The laying waste of stillness. Now she is the focal point of stillness. And the gods are coming. And the lines of force radiated out from my heart in all directions, and I could feel these lines of force as though I were a god and not merely a nasty girl. A girl tired of being the wise one. Radiated out from my still beating heart.
No man can claim to have understood hope or ambition till the flames burn under his feet and the once solid wood of his life are reduced to their last condition, that of ashes and dust.
Dearest Antigone, your whole life raises the question, who is to judge which deed is good and which is not?
Peace! The power of fate is frightful. Neither riches nor valor appease him, nor towers escape him.
No good deed goes unpunished.
The status of all crimes is man's inhumanity to man.
All good things come in threes. 3 fates, 3 mercies, 3 blind mice, 3 dead Greeks.
Dear Antigone, I wonder what your life would have been like if you didn't love so hard. Is it so wrong to want both of your brothers to be buried?
No, I was born with love enough to share. No
okay for anyone.
Creon has delivered his verdict and sentence. The full power of the law is in his hands, and it binds the dead as well as the living.
When you don't have a mother to talk to about all things you're going through, who can you turn to?
My name in Greek means something like a gives birth or instead of being born.
Girls, she said, if any man should ask for Antigone, tell him you saw her escape through the grave.
Did you ever wonder if what you were doing was wrong?
Well, if you call that law,
Zeus does that, justice does not, the dead do not.
That's the future. This is the present. You deal with the present.
What does it feel like to have to stand in front of your uncle who is also the king?
She wants to divide us, cried the tyrant, and divide our city will fall to the invaders.
Antigone said, the men in power always make these threats, and we bring sacrifices. Thus, our city, soon weakened and enslaved, shall fall prey to the invaders.
Even your sister is unsure if she wants to help you, but love made her realize that life without you wouldn't be worth living. Do you think she took her own life, or did she have kids to tell them all about you?
He who bows down sees over the earth will get him.
As he went to her, she was gathering dust. What lies buried below shall engender a time to come with many wonderful things.
Dear Antigone, I wonder if at the instant you kicked, and the rope jerked tight into your throat, cutting off your breath, I wonder if you felt sorrow that you didn't instead fall on your knees to pray for mercy.
Why look to the heavens any more tormented as I am? My reverence only brands me for irreverence.
I can no longer restrain the stream of tears as I see Antigone here, headed to the room where we all must go in the end.
This was a war bigger than just your brother.
A husband or a child can be replaced, but who can grow me a new brother? Is this a weird argument? Creon thought so.
7 gates, and in each gate a man, and in each man a death. At the 7th gate, 2 brothers grew into each other's hearts as pain. Now victory is ours. Let there be forgetting. Of all things strange, humankind is the most strange.
Dear Antigone, I'm sorry to inform you, but your life is going to suck.
Ever since we were born from the evils of Oedipus, what bitterness, pain, disgust, disgrace, or moral shock have we been spared?
And yet, of course, it's a great thing for a dying girl to hear that she shares the destiny of that of the gods, in life and later, even after she is dead.
Just know your story will be huge and well known, but again, things don't end well for you.
Death needs to have death laws obeyed.
I am not the first sacrifice nor the last.
What is Antigone about?
It's about people who refuse to compromise.
What is Antigone about?
It's about the struggle between those that want power and those who thwart that power.
It's about the tragedy of battle, whether full-fledged war or in court or with family. When we people are judged and judged, it's an ancient tale of stubbornness to the extreme. No one wins, everyone loses when no one can meet in the middle.
It's about a young woman standing up for something she believes in, something that is true and right. Because with the state laws as right and wrong are shaded by Creon. It is his right and wrong, not her right and wrong, not the people's right and wrong.
It's about social injustice, the greed associated with power.
How some laws just don't make any sense. How some people stand up for what is right no matter the consequences. How we can be blinded from the truth by our own prejudices.
How people can fear power and be scared to speak up in the face of danger. How others can fight to the finish for what they believe in. Dear Antigone, yesterday, in a loud, crowded prison visiting room, as I wove your sorrowful story for 2 teenage granddaughters, the ghost of teen suicide rose up between us, a specter too close to them for my comfort. Abby and Megan spoke of peers who take their own lives, leaving the living hanging. Life with no parole is a death sentence, a slow demise waiting for expiration, walled in the cave into death by natural causes, except there's nothing natural about the agony of endless quarantine. Some of my sister inmates follow your lead. Defiantly, they will not wait, Antigone. Most hang themselves like you. That way I'll pass over my mind like a vulture's shadow, but loved ones as collateral damage shoot away that shade. Antigone, I wonder if at the instant you kicked and the rope jerked tight into your throat, cutting off your breath, I wonder if you felt sorrow that you didn't instead fall on your knees to pray, to hope for mercy. Some call you brave, some call you impulsive. You're also judged as spoiled, loyal, hard-headed, proud, unyielding, honorable. All that aside, please know, dear Antigone, that you, little girl, live in every woman who stands on her conviction.
Now, before the king, the blind prophet Tiresias tries to get him to change his mind about Antigone.
Lord of Thebes, I have come.
What is it, old Tiresias? What news now?
I will teach you and you obey the seer.
I will. I've never wavered from your advice before.
And so you kept the city straight on course?
I owe you a great deal, I swear to that.
Then reflect, my son. You are poised once more on the razor edge of fate.
What is it? I shudder to hear you.
You will learn when you listen to the warnings of my craft. As I sat on the ancient seat of Aubrey, in the sanctuary where every bird I know will hover at my hands, suddenly I heard it, a strange voice in the wing beats, unintelligible, barbaric, a mad scream, talons flashing and ripping. They were killing each other. That much I knew. The murderous fury whirring in those wings made that much clear. I was afraid. I turned quickly, tested the burnt sacrifice, ignited the altar at all points, but no fire. The gods and the fire never blazed, not from those offerings. Over the embers slid a heavy ooze from the long thigh bones, smoking, sputtering out, and the bladder puffed and burst, spraying gall in the air, and the fat wrapping the bones slithered up and left them glistening white. No fire. The rites failed that might have blazed the future with a sign, and it is you! Your high resolve that sets this plague on Thebes. Public altars and sacred hearths are fouled, one and all, by birds and dogs who carry on, torn from the corpse, the doom-struck son of Oedipus. And so the gods are deaf to our prayers. They spur the offerings in our hands, the flame of holy flesh. No birds cry out an omen clear and true. They're gorged with the murdered victim's blood and fat. Take these things to heart, my son. I warn you, all men make mistakes. It is only human. But once the wrong is done, a man can turn his back on folly. Misfortune, too, he tries to make amends. However low he's fallen, and stops his bull-necked ways, stubborn as brandy for stupidity. Pride is a crime. No, yield to the dead. Never stab the fighter when he's down. Where's the glory killing the dead twice over? I mean you well. I give you sound advice. It's best to learn from a good advisor when he speaks for your own good. It's pure gain.
Old man. All of you! So you shoot arrows at my head like archers at the target? I even have him loosed on me, this fortune teller. Oh, his ilk has tried to sell me short and ship me off for years. Well, try your bargain. Traffic much as you like. In the gold of India, silver gold of Sardis. You will never bury that body in the grave. Not even if Zeus's eagles rip their rotten corpse and wing their rotten pieces off to the throne of God. Never! Not even in fear of such defilement will I tolerate his burial. That traitor! I know the gods can never be defiled. No mortal has the power. No, Reverend old Tiresias. All men fall. It's only human. But the wisest fall obscenely when they glorify obscene advice with rhetoric, all for their own gain.
Oh God, is there a man alive who knows
what
actually
now?
believes?
What earth-shattering truth are you about to utter?
Judgment, wisdom is the
just
greatest
as much
gift
I'd
we
say
have.
as a twisted man is
You're
the
the one
to know.
sick, Creon, sick to
I'm in
death.
no mood to trade insults with
You
a
already
seer.
have calling my prophecy the lie.
Why not you and the whole breed of seers are mad for money?
The whole race of tyrants lust for filthy
This slander
gain.
of yours, are you aware you're speaking to
Well
the king?
aware who helped you save the city.
You have your skills, old seer, but you lust for injustice.
Try me to utter this dreadful secret
Spit it
in my
out,
heart.
just don't speak it out for profit.
Profit? No, not a bit of
No,
profit.
full
not
well,
for
you'll
you.
never buy off my resolve.
No, then for sure the coursers of the sun, not many times shall run their race before that thou hast given the fruit of thy own loins, in quittance of thy murder, life for life, for that thou hast entombed a living soul and set below a denizen of earth, and wronged the nether gods by leaving here a corpse, unlaid, sir. Point me home, so he can take his rage on younger men and learn to keep a gentler tongue in his head and a better sense of what he carries now.
The old man's gone, my king. Terrible prophecies. Well, I know since the hair on this old head went gray, he's never lied to thieves.
I know it myself. I'm shaken, torn. It's a dreadful thing to yield but resist now. Lay my pride bare to the blows of ruin, that's dreadful too.
But good advice, Creon. Take it now, you must.
What should I do? Tell me, I'll obey.
Go, free the girl from the rocky vault and raise a mound for the body you exposed.
That's your advice? You think I should give in?
Yes, my king, quickly. Disaster sent by the gods cut short our follies in a flash.
It's a hard thing getting up the heart's desire, but I'll do it. No more fighting a losing battle with necessity.
Do it now. Go. Don't leave it to others.
Now? I'm on my way. Come, each of you, take up axes. I and my better judgment have come round to this. I shackled her, I shall set her free myself. I am afraid.
I seem to see it clouding my vision that this is the hour in which Oedipus is child in her room, hears Bacchus in the distance, and prepares for her last journey.
Once, at the beginning of time, the three Fates, very unpleasant young girls, enacted a story which was to become that of Antigone. Instead of wearing masks, they wore hats and a whole rack of customary costumery.
List of things that should be in a production of Antigone.
War scenes with soldiers.
Set on a cave.
Horses!
Ocean sand.
Big boulders.
Feast.
Waterfall!
Arm and weapon.
Granite pillars.
Circus performance.
Circus music. Clowns and acts dance around on stage.
Welcome to Media Circus, the game show where you
Looks the audience.
are judge and jury. Welcome cheerside! Today we have a battle between Antigone and King Creon. Cheerside! But before we start, let's hear it from the fans. What would you like to see in a production of Antigone?
Someone rushes out of the audience and grabs the microphone.
Steven Spielberg as producer, Jennifer Aniston as Antigone, George Clooney as Creon, The Rock and Vin Diesel as the brothers, Brad Pitt as Hammond. Best Broadway production opening night, 5 stars!
Here comes Antigone!
Antigone is with cell phone connected singing Alicia Carr's Stars to the Beautiful.
Gary, my brother!
There's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. And you don't have to change a thing, the world can change its heart. We'll tell you you're beautiful. I love you, Antigone. You're so beautiful.
I love you, Antigone! Antigone, did you knowingly commit this crime?
Nods head.
Did you bury your brother, cover his mangled body in soil?
Yes. You see, my brothers disagreed about this war. This horrible war, and fought against each other to the death.
Oh, that's so sad.
Their death made our uncle our king.
Oh, wow.
His first order as king was that my brother, who fought against the state, that brother's body be left to rot and eaten by vultures. Don't you get it? Without an honorable burial, my brother's body will not rest. My brother! I lost both my brothers in this war. Isn't that enough sorrow to bear? And you expect me to stand by and watch Poland Rising rotting on stone?
And now, meet the mighty king of thieves, the ruler of all rulers, the champion, King Creon! King Creon! Antigone tells me that your first order of business as king was to lay down the law to King Polynices, your nephew, your brother's son, could not be buried properly like his brother Eteocles. Is that true?
I had to, man. He disrespected me, bro. He was a traitor. I demand loyalty. Boy, if y'all had to show the people I'm no pussy, I'm the king and nobody better forget that.
And your brother's child, Antigone, showed blatant disregard for your law?
Yes, and I sentenced her to the death penalty.
Audience, by a show of thumbs, up if you're in favor of the death penalty, down if you're opposed.
Crucify her! Lock her up! Crucify her! Lock her up!
And then an audience member rises singing from A Merchant of Venice, solemnly, like a hymn.
The quality of mercy's not strange. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath it twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives.
I do not ask for mercy, uncle. I want it not. I will die. I've been cursed since before I was born. A child of incest, a freak! My father was raised by his own mother. Don't you get it? My father married his own mother.
Haman appears out of nowhere.
Please, Father, I love her. I love her with all of my heart.
I've had a change of heart.
How? You have no heart to change.
Tonight on Nancy Grace, a young girl is forced to work in a circus freak show by her own family. But under the big top, could someone be hiding a murder? Featuring a guest appearance by Judge Judy.
Quiet down. I will have silence in my courtroom. Bailiff, escort the jury out of here until I can get this commotion under control.
Your Honor, you cannot allow this legally illiterate young lady to go undefended in a case of this magnitude. Doing so might set precedents for future generations.
Well, Mrs. Grace, let me assure you of one thing. It's not you running the show in this. It's me in this courtroom.
We now return to Media Circus.
You, Antigone, will not die. You will join the circus and become the bearded lady you freakazoid.
No! You'll never see me again! Oh my God! Eurydice popped out of the audience. Husband, you drove our son away with your stubborn pride. What I need is a hat. A fatal hat. She puts one on.
Gypsy fortune teller appears wearing sunglasses and sings.
If I were a rich man, yada, 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 yada. Oh, I'd have all the money in the world if I were a clever man. But I am a blind horse.
Bring your technique to me! Bring your technique to me so I can find her crime against the state!
But I see yours. Too late! Breaking news. That spoiled, hard-headed girl hung herself from the trapeze rope. And that's not all. Your son, upon seeing her swinging from the ceiling by her fragile neck, cut his own heart out. That's two. But wait, that's not all. Your beloved wife makes three. Yes, in sorrow over her son's suicide and that spoiled, hard-headed brat, Eurydice took a buttload of sleeping pills, counting your two young nephews who died fighting for the state and died. You, King Creon, are the only one left of your cursed family. Your uncompromising, impetuous family cheated this audience of their verdict. Unless they want to judge you.
To audience!
What do you think? Do you want to judge poor King Creon? Or should we just party? Let's dance! Remember our motto on Media Circus. Judge not lest you be judged. Someone is always watching someone else, Creon.
Someone is always overhearing. Why must this be? Each thing has a right place if you know how to place it. My brother's body, for instance. There is such a thing as motion in one place. Spirit is action. This attempted burial is a reaction. You dramatize the issue. To dramatize is the thing against the self. To hell with self. Any self. Yours or mine or another. I got my idea like you got yours. By watching another. I, a watcher, precisely. You watch me and despise me for my clean, unpleasant spirit. I watched the burial of my brother by an unknown god. Death and crumpled paper.
Look at me, men of my fatherland, setting out onto the last road, looking out into the last light.
rest and watch. I'll soon be there, soon embrace my own, the great grand family of our dead. Persephone has received among her ghosts. I descend alive to the caverns of the dead. Never, I tell you, if I had been a mother of children, or if my husband died exposed to writing, I'd never take this ordeal upon myself. Never defy my people will what law? As far as what I say, a husband dead, there might have been another. A child by another too if I had lost the first. The mother and father both lost to the heart of death. No brother could ever spring to light again. What laws the mighty gods have I transgressed? Why look to the heavens any more tormented as I am? Whom to call comrade now? Just think, my reverence only brings me for irreverence. If it is the pleasure of God, once I suffer, then I'll know that I was wrong. But if the sins is theirs, oh may they suffer no worse ills than the wrong they do to me.
Attend ye, dwell halls of Cadmus. No life is one but praise blame for fortune ebb. Rise, cast in high low, none but immortals. Creon methought if any was. He slayed land from enemies, attained powers, ruled state, a noble crown, bliss now gone, wasted for life without joy count death. You'll ample wealth, pomp, circumstance, kings with these. No, all rest count shadow shade, wealth, power, drama, joy.
This is Eurydice's monologue. It's her only speech in the play. You may not know who she is, and that's okay. Like poor Miss Ramsay, who died in a bracket up to the lighthouse. She is the wife of a man whose moods intensify the story. The world of the story is sundered by her, that girl with the undead strapped to her back. A state of exception marks the limits of this law. This violent thing, this fragile thing. Try to unclench, we said to her. She never did. We got her a bike. We got her a therapist. Finally, we expelled her. We had to, using the logic of friend and foe. That she denies. How can she deny the one law to which she is an exception? Is she autoimmune? No, she's not. Have you heard the expression, the nick of time? What is a nick, I asked my son. What is a nick? When the messenger comes, oh, people, did I overhear something? I was just going out. I was just at the door. I was going to offer prayers to Athena, just opening the door, and I heard something like sorrow. Why do messengers always exaggerate? Whatever the news is, do tell me. Sorrow and I aren't strangers.
Dear Queen, we were there, and will relate the perfect truth.
Truth is ever best.
You know it's the truth. According to most studies, people's number one fear is public speaking. Number two is death.
Death is number two?
So if you go to a funeral, you're better off in the casket than doing eulogy. In attendance on your lord, we crossed the plain where the body of Polynices, gnawed and mauled, was lying yet.
I recently saw an ad for burial plots and thought to myself, that's the last thing I need.
Then to the caverned rock, the bridal chamber of the maid and death we sped, bound to enter. Hey, you remember when it was just death and taxes that were inevitable? Now, of course, there's shipping and handling, too.
We saw a maiden lying strangled there, a noose of linen twined about her neck.
It reminded me of this cousin I have. He's such a hypocrite. He's against the death penalty, and he killed himself.
And hard beside her, clasping her cold form, her lover lay, bewailing his dead bride. Death wedded in his father's cruelty. You know what they say. Where there's a will, there's a relative.
And then the boy fell on his sword and drove it through his side.
Eurydice exits, bleeding from all orifices.
I get it. Raising kids is tough.
I asked my brother-in-law, the father of two boys, if you still had to have kids again, would you do it? He said yes, just not these ones.
So there they lay, two corpses, one in death.
His marriage rites consummated in the halls of death. Mortals' unwisdom is the worst of all.
I said to him, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Take your parents as an example.
I don't think he heard you.
Approach planet at 1300 hours. The crew is heavy, a little homesick, but otherwise in good spirits. The surface of the planet is murky, conflicted. The atmosphere is charged like thunderclouds gathered before an oncoming storm, with no doubt of a downpour.
The life forms are intelligent, but given to hasty decision-making and stubbornness, naturally wars and suicides are very common, often spurring reactionary wars and suicides. To wonder how these beings maintain a steady population at all.
Religious is held in high regard, so is loyalty to the planet's ruler and the law. When these contradict each other, the inhabitants of this planet becomes agitated. Rational thought becomes difficult. Beings were arrested and deaths committed.
Not one incident was a surprise to the crew. That the whole royal house, except the ruler, had wiped themselves out was to be expected, really. One of the prophets tried to warn the ruler of the incoming domino effect, but just like the rulers on our planet, he chose not to listen to his own detriment. The crew was happy to believe in the planet, but it was uncertain as to how much time had passed. But our space cartographers will compare the stars as they were before visiting planet Antigone and after leaving this heavy layer of cloud behind. Such a depressing climate is not healthy for one's soul.
Things that never go away.
Hurts, pain, mistakes, addiction, love, death, abuse.
Then all become tolerable with time.